Hey, Shalom, Makim Shalom. First and foremost, as always, I would like to give all praise, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakodash. I would like to give double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that's still teaching this truth. And much peace, love, and salutation to the elect, beginning with the 144,000, all the way down to the large multitude that believes and who the Lord will deliver in these last days. To you all I say Shalom. I'm the brother Tazamah from the Great Millstone Dallas Camp, coming back today with another quick lesson. And I pray this lesson will be edifying to the elect. And I want to do a quick lesson going in on this whole peace deal that was made between Israel and Hamas. You know, I'd rather say Hamas accepting, as it says, Hamas accepts Trump peace plan ending 2 years of war in Gaza, returning hostages. And as you see down here, it says Trump invokes scripture and touting new peace deal. Okay, and we know what the scripture says. We know what the scripture says in 1 Thessalonians, the 5th chapter. All right, this is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. All right, this is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 3. It says, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. So when we see peace and safety being pushed, you know, in the media and the news, you know, there's a peace deal going on in the Middle East, and this peace deal took place, and this, you know, this side agreed to a ceasefire, and that side agreed to a ceasefire. So now it's going to be peace in the Middle East. We know, according to scripture, you know, as the scripture says in Job 9:24, that the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. And the wicked, according to the Bible, all right, in the book of Malachi, it tells you that Esau would be the border of wickedness. So the wicked, which are the Edomites, would be ruling the world. Okay? And the scripture also says in 2 Ezra chapter 6, verse 9, that what Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. So with the Edomites ruling in the last days, all right, and having the power of the world in their hands that was given to them by Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, whenever you see Esau promoting peace, this is a clear-cut sign that sudden destruction is on the way. All right, and what's that sudden destruction going to be? That sudden destruction is going to be the destruction of America, as well as the land of Israel via ICBM thermonuclear missiles. All right, as well as fire from the chariots. The only difference is that, all right, Israel, the land of Israel, will be built back up because that's our homeland. All right, that's the homeland that Yahweh Bashem Shai set up for us, the Israelites, the true Israelites. All right, and that's going to be our kingdom. All right, but America, Babylon the Great, will be completely annihilated. Okay, and this is what we see getting ready to take place with this whole peace deal. Okay, because there isn't going to be any peace until Yahweh Shai returns, as the scripture says. When the righteous are in authority, the people are going to rejoice. All right, he's also known as the Prince of Peace as well. Okay, I gotta pause the video for one moment, 1 second. All right, Salaki about that. But pretty much, you know, this is a clear-cut sign, all right, that Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is getting ready to get down. All right, he's getting ready to work, as the scripture says. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and grab that real quick in Psalm 119 and 126. It is time for thee, O Lord, to work. Let's get that real quick, and then we'll get to the article. All right, this is Psalm 119 and 126. It says, it is time for thee, Yahweh, to work. All right, and you know, we see America, Babylon the Great, is just a big, you know, a big mess. It's a big ball of confusion. All right, you got all kinds of scandals that just take place on a daily basis, and it's like typically, you know, the typical event, I rather say, or series of events that happen here in America. You know, it's just a blind eye gets turned toward it. You know, you got all these missing children. You know, you got all these false Fs. You know, they're completely taking away your so-called rights right in front of your face. You speak out against particular things or against particular people, and you either A, you're blacklisted, or B, you know, your page get cut, or you get a strike, or whatever the case may be. You know, the seasons are out of whack. The food that you eat is all defiled, decrepit, it's killing you. You know, So, because ultimately the wicked is bearing, the scripture says that when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn, man. So it's time, as it says, we'll read it again. It is time for thee, Yahweh, to work, for they have made void thy law. And who have made void thy law? The biblical Edomites, man. Okay? The scripture says, what is thou to do to declare my statutes? You know, they'll say that this is a God-fearing nation and, you know, God-fearing country. And this is a country that was built upon Christian values and things of that nature. You know, but the laws of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua don't get pushed forth over here. Pretty much everything that's contrary to the law is promoted. So as the scripture says in the book of Revelation, the 18th chapter, all right, their sins would reach into heaven. All right, and when their sins reach a certain, when their sins, pretty much their transgressions reach a particular number of prescribed crimes, I rather say, then that's when Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua is going to ultimately bring forth the judgment. And this is what you see getting ready to take place now. Okay? So once again, I'm going to read the title. It says, Hamas accepts Trump peace plan ending 2 years of war in Gaza, returning hostages. Trump invoked scripture in touting new peace deal. And I just quoted the scripture. What is thou to do to declare my statutes? Okay? Out of anybody, Donald Trump. You know? Complete madness, man. I'm not going to play this video, you know, but I'm just going to read a little bit of it. It says, man, let me actually see if I can just listen to it. Let's take a listen.
Hamas accepts Trump peace plan ending 2 years of war in Gaza, returning hostages. Hamas has agreed to a peace deal pushed by President Donald Trump to end the war in Gaza and return the hostages, 2 years after the terrorist network attacked Israel on October 7, 2023, sparking not only the bloodiest day for Jews since the Holocaust, but a deadly war and a humanitarian crisis in the Gaza Strip. Trump took...
It says the bloodiest day for the JEW since the Holocaust, when October 7th took place, which was all really, an orchestrated plan. I'll put it like that, by the people within. All right, when I say by the people within, I'm talking about the people that are controlling and running and, you know, pulling the strings of this thing, that are actually running shit. All right, the elite of the nation of Edom.
To Truth Social on Wednesday to make the announcement. I am very proud to announce that Israel and Hamas have both signed off on the first phase of our peace plan. This means that all of the hostages will be released very soon, and Israel will withdraw their troops to an agreed-upon line as the first steps toward a strong, durable, and everlasting peace. All parties will be treated fairly. This is a great day for the Arab and Muslim world, Israel, all surrounding nations, and the United States of America, and we thank the mediators from Qatar.
So it's mentioning, you know, it's a great day for America, for Israel, for the surrounding nations. You know, now there can be peace in the Middle East. Right?
Qatar, Egypt, and Turkey, who work with us to make this historic and unprecedented event happen. Blessed are the peacemakers. Speaking to Sean Hannity, Trump...
and he quoted, blessed are the peacemakers. But when you look at Edomite culture and Edomite history, as well as the history of America, what peace has America provoked? You know, what peace has America brought? You know, they've used nothing more than just the sword, you know, and bloodshed to promote their hegemony, man. You see? So at the end of the day, man, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua is gonna stump a mud hole in Esau's ass, man. And this is why you see Esau moving the way that he's moving right now. You know, there's so-called peace in the Middle East, but you don't even got peace in your own. You don't even got peace in your own backyard here in America, man. At any given moment, shit can just pop off, man. People, the people have never been on edge as much as we've seen today. You see, you got Trump, pretty much spreading the military out within the country, because ultimately martial law is getting ready to be implemented. You see, the scripture says that he will mingle a perverse spirit in Egypt, and it'll be in the midst of Egypt. The minds of these people here in Babylon the Great are failing. Now we're really about to see the scripture come to light Isaiah 33:6, it says, for wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy time, and strength of salvation, and the fear of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is treasure. We really going to need the wisdom and knowledge of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai to keep us firm, in these last days, man, because it's about to get deadly. It's about to get deadly bad out here, man. Seriously. Okay? The cruel Lord, Nero 47, is back. Nero is back, man. This is him. You see? And he's getting ready to, he was talking about invoking the Insurrection Act. You had all these migrants, if you will, that crossed the borders during the Biden administration, which a lot of those individuals were military men. I'm just speaking as a man, but that's what I believe. Scripture says that I will send fanners into Babylon and they shall fan her. So I believe a lot of those individuals were members of the military. You see, to just completely just stir up strife and confusion here in America. You got ICE, pretty much being sent to these various different places that they just hemming up people. It's shit's hitting the fan. But call hello Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, because it's the Lord working, and it's all for a bigger plan. At the end of the day, prophecies coming to pass.
Trump said he expects the hostages to be released on Monday. He didn't elaborate on whether he would be going to the region.
I'm gonna speed it up just a little bit. So if this video is sped up that you're listening to right now, you might want to put it to normal, because I'm gonna speed this up. And if you have mine sped up, then you listen to this, it's gonna be really, really fast. Let's do 1.5.
Before the president's announcement, photos emerged from the negotiation room in Sharm el-Sheikh showing senior officials embracing and shaking hands as reports indicated significant progress toward a hostage release deal. Retired General Nitzan alone was seen shaking hands with Qatar's Prime Minister El Thani, with Special Envoy Witkoff in the background. On the other side, Hamas leader Khalil al-Hayya and other senior officials appeared smiling. An Israeli source said preparations are underway for an official announcement of the agreement, while other officials expect it to be signed as early as Thursday. Israeli media reported Israel and the terror group will sign the deal Thursday in the Egyptian resort of Sharm el-Sheikh. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said in a statement, with God's help, we will bring them all home. Netanyahu added in a statement in Hebrew, a great day for Israel. Tomorrow I will convene the government to approve the agreement and bring all our dear hostages home. I thank the heroic soldiers of the IDF and all the security forces. Thanks to their courage and sacrifice, we have reached this day. I thank from the bottom of my heart President Trump and his team for mobilizing for the sacred mission of freeing our hostages. With God's help.
You see, and Donald J. Trump is nothing more than a puppet. He's nothing more than just a puppet that's being used, all right, by the global elite. And he does the bidding. Pretty much America does the bidding of Israel in the Middle East. All right. That's why, Israel has, I don't know the exact number. I heard it the other day, but they have a large stockpile of nuclear missiles, that was given to them by America. They get all kinds of aid from America, billions of dollars a year, because America is nothing more than Israel's hope. See?
Together we will continue to achieve all our objectives and expand peace with our neighbors. The terrorist organization Hamas announced in an official statement, after responsible and serious negotiations conducted by the movement and the Palestinian resistance factions regarding President Trump's proposal in Sharm el-Sheikh, with the aim of ending the war of extermination against our Palestinian people and the withdrawal of the occupation from the Gaza Strip, Hamas announces the reaching of an agreement that ends the war on Gaza, provides for the withdrawal of the occupation, allows the entry of aid, and implements a prisoner exchange. We greatly appreciate the efforts of the mediators in Qatar, Egypt, and...
we'll see. We'll see what happens, what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, like I said, Shalaki, not like I said, but as the scripture says, there's no peace, saith the Lord, to the wicked. All right, so, obviously there's going to be something that's going to happen, to whereas, Israel is probably going to, bomb the shit out of Gaza again, or, there's going to be some sort of false F that's going to take place where something happens maybe internally here in America, and it's going to be blamed on Iran or on Hamas here in America. Then it's just going to be more draconian laws being passed down upon the people here in America, that they're going to be looked at as domestic terrorists. Then, it's probably going to be something that, like I said, it's probably going to be something that may happen here. Who knows? We don't know. Then it's going to be blamed on, Hamas and Iran, and then it's going to give Israel, quote unquote, the justification to continue doing their thing. But once again, this is all, prophecy, because the Lord is going to gather together the various different nations into the valley of Yahweh Shabbat, as it says. This is Joel 3:9. It says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. You see that? And that's these various different nations, pretty much gearing up for battle. You have the weaker nations that now possess ICBM missile technology. You have various different nations that are pretty much condemning the little caps over there, and wanting to recognize a Palestinian state. You see, everybody's turning their eyes towards the real problem in the so-called Middle East, which is really Western Asia. Everybody's pointing out the elephant in the room, the problem. The true problem child is Amalek, man. Okay, and they're being called out. And remember, the scripture says in the last days that inquisition will be made into the councils of the ungodly. There will be a great inquisition that will be made. And the inquisition is being made first and foremost through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shah through his prophets. All right, us over here at Great Millstone and our affiliates, man, we're the ones through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shah that's revealing this devil. Remember, the scripture says in the latter times he shall be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth and the brightness of his coming. In 2 Thessalonians 2, and the spirit of the Lord's mouth is who? His prophets. Okay, verse 11. It says, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh. Verse 12. It says, let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. Okay, and the valley of Jehoshaphat is in that Western Asian region, the whole Levant region over there, man. Okay, Israel, Syria, Iran, Iraq, all right, Saudi Arabia, that whole region. That's the valley of Jehoshaphat, or the valley of Yahweh Shaphat. It says, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. You see, so the Lord is going to gather all these various different nations together for judgment. And that's what you see taking place. That's why you have all this turmoil taking place over there in Western Asia right now, because this is ultimately the Lord, all right, stirring up strife and contention in that region of the earth to ultimately bring forth salvation to the elect of the nation of Israel, man, and to establish the kingdom of heaven on the planet Earth, which is going to be ran by the Israelites underneath Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, King David, the 144,000, and then the rest of the nation of Israel being gods and rulers on the planet Earth, as we were intended to be. All right, but great judgment has to ensue first. All right, this is Isaiah 47, verse 7. It says, therefore, hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures, that dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. And this is talking about America. All right, this is the nation that dwells without care. All right, when you get that word carelessly, that word carelessly is batach, which means security, safety, securely. You see, in America definitely totes itself on its on its so-called military might, which America does have a strong military, but their military is not, their technology, I rather say, is not as strong as others. For example, Russia. Russia's missile, ICBM missile technology, it supersedes America. You see, but that word carelessly means security. Okay. Therefore, hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures, that dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. Pretty much meaning that you think you never gonna fall. The scripture says in Psalm 49:11, what their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever. Pretty much meaning that they think that their new world order, this beast system is going to continue to be established. They're just gonna be able just to put a RFID microchip inside of you and just pretty much be rulers over you and rulers over your mind forever. That's what the global elite really think. It says, but these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day. the loss of children and widowhood. And that's going to happen in 1 hour. All right, when these missiles get shot off and they decimate all of America. It says, they shall come upon thee in their perfection for the multitude of thy sorceries and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. You see that? Because it's nothing more than just all kinds of witchcraft and enchantments that are being done daily, man. This whole left-right paradigm. I'm left. I'm right. You know, I'm left wing. I'm right wing. I'm liberal. I'm conservative. Then you got the news saying one thing, and then you got this group of people saying another thing, and it's all really just witchcraft, man. To keep these people, you know, to keep the people completely subjected into sorcery. You see, that's why America has to be destroyed, and that's why Esau Edom is going to fall the way he's going to fall, man. So don't allow this whole so-called peace deal that's being talked about here, you know, to think that everything's going to be fine and things of that nature. No, man, everything here is just going to continually get worse. You see, it's just going to continually get worse. And ultimately, it's Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai that's going to be stirring the pot. 2 women hug upon learning that Israeli hostages are expected to be released as part of a Gaza ceasefire deal. There probably isn't even no hostages, man. You know? There's probably not even no hostages. Just being honest. You know, they just throw this out there in the news and get to galvanize people's minds and to galvanize people's, you know, emotions and opinions about it. You see? But Yahweh Bashem Al Shai has something planned for these people, man, these Edomites, man. Okay? So I pray this lesson was edifying to the elect. Call hello Yahweh Bashem Al Shai, Bashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone that taught us his truth and that's what teaching his truth. Much peace, love, and salutation to the elect. Until next time, Lord willing, I say shalom.